Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I bring core key energy with the timing of the breath into physical activity, and this video is baseball swing bat mechanics, and it's the grip. How do you hold the bat to maximize what you can do? And I have two ways of understanding the grip, and you can choose from. And I'm going to go in through other little characteristics. The goal of this whole video series is a basic level to hit the ball. And the only way you want to hit the ball at the highest rate is have the best direct path of the bat to the ball. And you can do it. No extra movement, it's direct, and you're hitting the ball. That's just basic. If you want to start hitting home runs, there's other techniques and other forms. But in the beginning, getting the mechanics down, getting your form down, then if you got a real good swing mechanics, you can always amplify it, increase the force. Swing mechanics is the physical shape of your body to move the bat to the ball. What is the best form or the best form for you to hit the ball in a repeatable way? If it comes over the plate, into the square of the box, why shouldn't you be able to hit it? So you know the range the ball's going to go. That's the good part. Now, how to bring the bat to the ball. So this is the grip, and I'm going to explain. There's three parts to I deal with the body. The lower body, that's hips, feet, knees. Upper body, shoulders, shoulder blades, arms. Involve how do you position the right arm, left arm, because you want to hit the left arm, have the left arm straight when you hit the ball, and the right elbow bent. That's your goal. It's not straight out. It's where your right elbow is bent, the left arm is straight. Now, grip. There's two ways you can grip. The bottom hand, understand what's the function of the front hand, the bottom hand, is to bring the bat to the ball. You actually, you aim the left hand at the ball coming in. What's the function of the right hand? Is to give power, strength to bring the bat around to hit the ball. Now, how you hold the grip will affect the impact characteristics of hitting the ball. If you have a poor grip, what's going to happen, you hit the ball right, but the kinetic force is absorbed by you and the ball doesn't go far. But if you have your hand a certain way where it's solid, it's like hitting a brick wall and it has forward motion at the same time, the ball has a recoiling effect and goes out there. So understanding the grip is very important to transfer your momentum force plus the impact of hitting the ball back into the bat to make the ball go out instead of the ball pushing your bat backwards. When you're hitting something, you have two choices. What's going to happen is that the ball hits there and push the bat back, or the ball hits there and is solid and moving forward at the same time. There's an impact. It's like having a car running into something. It hits it, slows it down, but then it continues moving. But that impact is how you determine the recoil effect, so you don't lose any backward motion. You don't have that backward motion occur, is how you hold the bat and absorb it. And the left hand is a very key point there, because when you hit it, think of the lever. If you hit it, the butt moves back this way. When it hits this way. So how you have that left hand position down there around the back, so when it hits, you have a solid left hand to take the impact, so the bat doesn't go backwards on you. It doesn't go this way very much or at all. But the right hand helps, no question. The right hand helps, but still it takes both hands to deal with the impact effectively. So you continue moving. How little you move back and move forward at the same determines the distance. That's one way to look at it. This is basic understanding. Now, on the grip, let's go with the hand. See, my hand is flush this way, up and down like that. There's one way to do it. So when you're coming around, you got this action. See my hand, the wrist snapping this way. It's a short distance. Or you can come around and have the bat you could have the palm back of the hand like this, so you swing through more. You got more swing. So one you have limited range, the other one you have. Now, the advantage of this way is when you look at the mass on my hands right here. When it hits right there. When you have it to the side more, when it hits, you're coming around like this, the mass hits up towards the front by the knuckle, by the joint up here involved. So, but you got a greater snap, but when you do this, you got to have your hand in such a way, because when that impact hits, it's going to go against that knuckle right there. So when you're doing this, you're going to have the impact around your thumb, your little finger right here. So understand, but when you do it this way, you hit like this, it's going to be more against the palm. It's going to be more here. So one way is up here, the other way is down here. And it's a matter of snap. Now the advantage when you're hitting the ball when you're like this, the disadvantage, you got greater range, you can swing through the wrist action, but it affects the shoulder and the structure of the body. You cannot go up as easy. It's harder. When you have it like this, it has a direct path to go up higher. So understanding of what's the difference, you got to get the feel. This is a feel. And finding out what works is what really matters for you. Because this, like I said, this is basic to hit the ball effectively, consistently, 50% or better. Yeah, and that requires the least amount of motion and the most direct force into the ball. Now, how you have your hands really does affect the impact relationship and finding. Myself, I like the palm like this. And so when the bat hits, it's going against this area right here, where if you have it more like this, it's going against here. That's the difference. One's up here, one's down here. One's pushing here, one's pushing there. But in doing so like this, my directional force can come up better versus this harder to come around. This is like a direct path. I can shoot way up. This I can't. It just makes it, you can test it. Test like, have it when you hit the ball like this, just to, come around, hit the ball like this, and try to move around up. Versus if you hit the ball like this, where your wrists are cocky. Your wrist is going this way versus this way. That's basically the two difference. Now, what do you do with the right hand? Oh, number one rule. Be sure when you do this finger is pointed out. This finger is pointed out. When you want to move through, make sure that finger right. Now the thumb, you can press, you actually squeeze in and down. So at the time of impact, you squeeze the thumb in and down. So it's like an angle here with your little finger and ring finger at point of, all these fingers are tight at the point of impact. When you're moving in, it's only the little finger and the ring finger. But when you hit, it's squeeze. You squeeze the left hand, but this finger has to be pointed. Same with this finger. This finger is pointed. The other thing, when you're coming around like this hand here is more like this, because it's like you're going to hit, and you want the bat between here and here, right in this area here. You want the bat force right in this area here. You don't want it over here, and you don't want it too down here. This is a bone area, and it gives you the greatest force through to hit. But point that finger. Same with this thing. When you hit, squeeze the thumb down, all the fingers at the same time. So basically at the point of impact, you got a solid, and you got the rotational force. You got the snap. At the same time, you hit it, squeeze, and then you soften. It's a hard and soft process, yin and yang force. So really understanding the grip. Now, quick review on my stance. The way I say you stand, this is the basic for at least movement. Feet work begins with footwork. First, hips tilt a little forward so your back is straight. You get distance just past the shoulders. Do not go far out. You don't move. You don't. This foot's turned out 78 degrees. This foot is turned in 15 degrees. And the goal is to have an open stance so this foot tip is in the middle of the arch. That's just a general. You can go a little forward, you can go a little back, but don't do this. Never start like that. 2, don't move back. You don't need to. If you do this right, you have the 15 degree, you just bring your heel, whip your knee. The function I call of the lower body is to turn the hips. If you think of faster you can turn the hips, the faster you can rotate the shoulders into the ball. And the separation factor comes into play between the shoulders and hips. The hips should lead so the shoulders follow into the ball. That's the goal, basically. So really describe what do you want your hips, shoulders, relationship to do to bring the hand, left hand to the ball, on ball, and the right hand strikes it. You look at it that way. This is fundamental understanding of the mechanics itself, the fit. What drives the internal force is that's a whole nother area. How to build up more force for the turn is a kinetic force between the legs. There's a lot of little internal things you could do to really amplify the turning of the hips and rotation of the shoulders. But you have to use the core. Using the core, breathing to facilitate, and then making the hands, the grip. That's the snap part. All you're doing is rotating around to throw snap. And see my hand here is like this. And I have my fingers almost like this finger pointed at the ball, the direction I want to go. So when you're standing like so, open stance, you bend at the hip flexors, that's here. Not this. Back straight, shoulder. Lock your upper body, arm into the pec. So that by squaring your shoulders back to your spine, neutral, and your hand is in front, it's a natural act to do this. And if you squeeze the little finger into the bat, you can make the left arm straight and the ring finger. And you can do this, or you can do this. See how my wrist is going through? Or you can do this. Involved. Those are 2 ways of the grip. The right hand, you got 2 choices. You could either have the bat in the soft part coming around and hit the ball, which you will wobble more, or you can have it right on the ball and you can actually like snap, throw this finger right at the ball. Understanding the left hand brings the bat to the ball and the right hand strikes it. Now, when I say that, you want to aim at the ball with the butt of the ball. In other words, when the ball coming at you and you want to aim it, don't try to aim the bat. That's too far away. Aim the butt. Then the bat comes around to the ball. A little timing, you get it down. If you can catch the ball, there's no reason you can't hit the ball, in my mind, and since the visual process. Now, it is different than catching ball because your eyes are seeing it straight on. When you're like this, you got one eye a little forward than the other, so there's a little perception you have to make adjustments to. If that's affecting it, it's another story. But then, remember, you have like this, 78 degree, and the goal is to rotate the wrist, rotate the ankle into here. 2, you have your arms somewhat straight. You don't go up like this. See my right elbow? Why do you want that? When you hit the ball, you want that right elbow like this. Not straight out. You want it bent, and you want it like this. So why do you want to move the right elbow? Excessive movement distorts your talent to hit the ball. Having a direct path, a natural path to bringing the bat to the ball is the whole concept of this whole video series. Involves understanding swing mechanics. This is basic. You don't move your feet. You don't need to, because the goal is to turn your hips any way you want. Some people like to flare back and then step forward. Why? That's a lot of movement. You just sit there and wait, and if you got good hip action with the foot turned in, 17 degrees or like this, so it's easy to whip that knee to the other knee. That's all you need, shorter distance. Why do you need to stretch out like this? Oh, that's supposed to be firm base for what? Oh, it's supposed to make it, no, it's not a coil. When you truly understand what the physical demands to create a coil effect of bringing the hand around, the bat around, that is a sensation. People don't train you for the physical experience of the internal force of making a coil to out. A coil is like winding up a spring, and then when you let your knee release, it's unwinding the hip, turning the hip, rotating the shoulder. The link between shoulder and hip to feet. So having feet too. Why do you want the 17 degrees out there? You watch most batters when they hit, they have the foot always ends out like that. So why not have it there so you move the hip into the foot? Not have the hip turn the foot out where you end up on your heel. Hitting a baseball, being off balance, really doesn't do well to present your force into the bat. This is basic grip. Some understanding of why you do this. You don't step, you don't need to. This is a goal because why? If you want to step later on to amplify forward motion, that takes timing. And I would recommend looking at Babe Ruth's form of movement of feet from in to out, not from out and out farther. That throws your balance off. It makes it awkward. You can't turn your hips. Always remember, if you can turn your hips facing the pitcher, versus if you step out, your hips cannot totally turn to the hips. And then you hit out here, your hip, the greater the distance between your hip and shoulder, the greater the muscle loss. The more you can turn, and when you hit the ball, basically the hip, the shoulders coming in even with the hip are a little past. That maximizes the full force coming into the bat from the body. Then you got the hand snap. Then you have the choice of either doing this or doing this involved. And it affects which one you pick to develop, affects how the upper body behaves. So if you go from the bat, hands, shoulders down to feet, and then back, analyze those three areas. Lower body, upper body, and hands, and how they link together to transfer force into the bat, and the accuracy ability of aiming the butt at the ball and swinging it around is the whole idea here. So this is Scott, the breathing guy. This is baseball bat swing mechanics. This is the grip and more understanding of balance to hit the ball. You'll maximize your force by having balance in the movement of hitting the ball. There's no reason to be off balance to hit the ball, in my view.